What's up, my people? How you guys doing today? This is Eric Brent, Family Cash Machine, Follow the Money. And today we're going to talk to you guys about economics, like we always do. We always want to talk about following the money. There's different things that we talk about where you may not see the economic dots, so we connect the dots. But at the same time, I wanted to say to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep bringing information to my people. Of course, we talk about money, we talk about global economics, we talk about one of the greatest exchanges of wealth ever in the history of the world that's happening right now. But it's going to follow one of the greatest economic calamities this ever in the world. So they're going to happen simultaneously, and it's all going to depend on what side of the coin you put yourself on. Now, a lot of global economists are not going to tell you guys that one of the greatest economic exchanges is happening and redistribution of wealth is presenting an opportunity for you. But me, as a black man, I have to make sure that I make my people aware of this, what's coming up. It's all prophetic. It's all was prophesied to happen, and not just prophesied. It's being organized and it's being orchestrated on several levels of government and banking. They're creating this crash, and they're creating a situation where wealthy people are going to get wealthier and poor people are going to get poorer. But if you know, you can position yourself and take advantage of the same things they're taking advantage of. So again, as a black man, coming from the rhythm of black pain, I have to speak out of the pain and hurt of my people to make sure you guys are included in all the things that's presenting itself right now in this world. And it's a great time to be living if you know. But I'm going to share this with you guys. I want to talk about this economics, a little research that I saw. I saw research that was done from a group of people. I think it was Duke University. Duke University did a research, as well as the Federal Reserve of Boston. Now, Boston is being said to be one of the most racist states in the United States as far as black people is concerned, and a lot of Bostonians will deny that and say, oh, well, it's not racist here. It's not. We got athletes and we have black people that have jobs here, and I bear to differ. You know, when you look at the statistics, when you look at the cold hard facts, economics, it tells a total different story. You know, it is one of the most racist states in the United States. Economically, it tells the story because if it's happening on an economic level, then there's attitudes and there's prejudiceness, and there's things of that nature that's creating these numbers. Okay, those numbers just don't happen. You know, numbers come from people. People create numbers. Behaviors, patterns create numbers. So let's go into this statistic. They showed that, and Boston, Federal Reserve was trying to find out. They studied like 5 different states to try to come up with. They were trying to figure out economic disparities around the country, and I just feel like Boston is supposed to be like the heartbeat of America. That's where, you know, you had the Boston Tea Party and all of this stuff, and a lot of our quote-unquote founding forefathers signed a lot of documents there in Boston. So you would think Boston would be the heartbeat of America, but maybe it is the heartbeat of America, and that heartbeat is telling you what America is about. So, of course, America is still one of the greatest countries in the world. It's got some of the greatest economic advantages in the world of any other country. I got to add that in there. But it's also very deceptive in its illusion to sell a pipe dream. And you can't be naive of that fact either. So let me go right ahead and talk about this statistic some of you guys might have heard of. Over 200, the median net worth, the average white family in Boston is $247,000. That's the average white family net wealth after the bills and the debt and the assets and liabilities. All that stuff is balanced out. $247,000 for the average medium. The medium average net wealth for the medium net wealth for the average white family. And when you do that number for black families in Boston, are you ready? Brrr, bing, $8. I don't mean to laugh, but it's so despairing, and it's such a huge disparity. It's kind of funny. $8. $8 is the medium net wealth of the average black family in Boston. After you add their car notes and all of that stuff, $8. That's the medium net wealth. Versus a white family, $247,000. So we don't even register on the map. According to, if you ask the person if they want $247,000 or do they want $8, I mean, of course they're going to always take the highest number. Anybody would do that to understand any kind of math, but that is just a huge difference. And so there's got to be mitigating factors about that. There's got to be reasons for that. And so what I'm saying to you guys is, a lot of it has to do with our lack of knowledge. A lot of it has to do with our ability to be caught up. I call it the caught up syndrome. We caught up trying to catch up and be caught up in the caught up syndrome, that we want to buy these cars and do things that we can't afford because we want to look like we're doing better than we're actually doing. That's a part of it. But there's a lot of external racial factors as to why we're in the condition that we're in, and a lot of it is institutional, systematic racism. Definitely is. So $247,000, the net wealth of the average, the medium, it's not the high, it's the medium net wealth of the average white family in Boston versus the average white family and black family, $8. Wow. Okay, let's go on. There's another statistic that by this research center that I kind of like this research here, because they went from 1980 to now, today. And it was a very diverse group of professors who did this particular research on wealth in America. And a lot of people might say, well, you know, things have changed and, you know, it's not like the 50s and 40s. Well, this research goes from the 80s to today. And I would say that's a very current analysis. That's a great analysis, especially when to factor in when you factor in that they analyzed over 20 million black people. Over 20 million black people in this survey, and they went from the 80s till today, which is a pretty current analogy of economics. Okay? So what they find, and I use this particular research for a reason, because I'm trying to prove something, is the average black man who, say that a black man who comes from a background where his family makes $1 million a year, and a white guy or a white man whose family make $1 million a year, putting these two on the same economic status, where they both come from the same wealthy, secure background of, say, a consistent $1 million a year, the black man's future looks quite different. In fact, the chances of him being poor by the end of his life is highly astronomically higher than the white guys, being that they come from the same platform. That's deep to me. This tells me everything. So, on the other hand, the white man who comes from that same economic background of this black guy with $1 million a year in their family, pretty secure, wealthy family, I would say, the white guy most likely has to do nothing, and at the end of his life, most likely maintain his wealth. Wow. So let me say that again. A black man and a white man, both with $1 million, their family income. They grow up from kids with $1 million income for their families a year. So basically they got the same economic start. The black guy is most likely to be poor by the end of his life, and the white guy, without doing nothing, will most likely maintain his wealth. Ooh, my goodness. That tells me everything right there. First of all, some of it tells me that we're not economically equipped. We've been trained wrong. We've been taught wrong. These schools don't teach you guys right. They teach you Keynesian economics. And if you guys come into the Family Cash Show, we'll teach you the difference between the economics they teach you in school and the economics that Chinese learn in China and Koreans learn in China and Jewish people learn in their family. It's quite different economics. And it's also about sound money. Most people in the world don't learn about sound money. Even professors teach you guys Keynesian economics. They don't know about sound money. I heard some dumb guy say the other day, well, he likes calamities. He's a financial economic guy, professor. He said calamities are good because it creates jobs. No, yes, it does create jobs, but it creates debt because governments have to come out of their pockets with millions, if not billions of dollars for natural calamities. And they have to borrow money from the Federal Reserve or the central banks at a high inflated interest rates that they can never pay back. And this is why governments continue to create debt and debt and debt and debt until they eventually print more money, which creates hyperinflation, and now the dollar value goes down and it's going to cost you $20,000 to buy a loaf of bread. And you guys laugh and say, oh man, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny because you're in America, but this just happened in Venezuela. It happened in India. It happened in Germany. That's why Germany had the war back in the World War II. All this stuff is happening over again because we're using the same formulas. But again, you're taught wrong in school about economics. You're taught wrong. Black people are taught wrong. Not only are they taught wrong, they are in a system of economic racism. That's what that shows me. Those numbers tell me everything. Those numbers tell me that even though they come from the same background, there's going to be a different future for one than the other. You can't tell me the white guy's smarter than the black guy. I refuse to believe that. I think there's external factors quite different for the black guy than it is for the white guy, okay? Remember, we follow the money. We follow the money that's going to tell us this story. Now, I was interested to see why that institute did not include the study of the black woman. Well, they did a study of black women. They just didn't include it in this research. So when I asked about it, they shared with me that a black woman with a, say, background of a family that got $1 million a year or $600,000 a year, and let's say we have a white woman with the same exact background with $1 million a year as the black woman. What they find for those two is the income for those two throughout their life is not that different. Wow. The income for the black woman who has $1 million a year family, foundation, you know, she grows up as a kid with a family that's creating $600,000 to $1 million a year, and a white woman with the same financial background, the income for those two is not that different throughout their life. Wow. So that tells me that the black woman is under different circumstances than black men. Okay? And they know this. Most people know this. But it also shows me that black women are not quite understanding, most of them, not all of them, the plight of the black man and the opposition of black men. Okay? And this may actually add to domestic violence and the reason why we're so dysfunctional as a couple, black men and black women. A lot of seats follow the money. I'm telling you, follow the money. The money's gonna give you a story. So again, also with this statistic, it showed that although the lifestyles may be different from a black woman and white woman because of the household, we're not counting the household now. Including the household, we're just talking about black woman and a white woman having the same background, and the income that they generate throughout their life is similar. But the white woman household may have more money because she's married to a white man, of course, that makes more money than anybody. Okay? And factor in the fact that more white women are married than black women. Interesting fact there. So typically most black women, not all, but there's a lot of black women that are high income, they're not married. And when they do marry, they're most likely to marry a black man making less money than them. So again, the household income is different. But those two individuals with the same background, black woman and white woman, income doesn't differ that much and throughout their life, not that much. I thought that was interesting numbers. And I thought that says a lot about our society and the inclusion of black women in corporate America, the inclusion of black women in opportunities and making money versus the exclusion of black men in corporate America and the exclusion of black men in certain resources and opportunities in corporate America. That's what that tells you. Numbers tell you everything. Now, also, we can see why a lot of black women not married, because a lot of them don't want a guy that's making less than them. A lot of them are looking for the guy making more than them or is equal to them. But most of them settle for a guy making less than them because they still want to be in love. They still want to have a family. They still want to have a normal, average, lifestyle. But in order to do that in this world, in this society, they have to accept a black man making less than them. Most of them. Not all of them. These are interesting numbers, Coke. Like I said, to me, this explains to me the dysfunction and with black families. You know, a lot of the dysfunction with the black relationships has a lot to do with economics. Has a lot to do with economics. And so, again, I'm going to read one more statistic that tells me a story as well. For every $100 that a white man makes in America, an Asian woman makes 84% of that. Wow! Where'd she come from? Asian woman. What happened to the white woman? What happened to black people? Black people been here before Asians. We helped build this country. So for every $100 that a white man make, an Asian woman makes 84%. Is it because of programs that they implement for foreigners when they come here, grants and things that they apply for and qualify for that they don't even give the average American? Is it because of the economics that they learn in their families, even though a lot of Chinese, come over here and they set up businesses? They may learn economics in their groups, in their peers that we don't learn here in America. Or Koreans or Japanese, certain economics that they learn amongst each other as far as supply and demand. Is it because of that? I think it's a little all of that. But again, black people been here before. We helped build this country. But Asians come here and now the Asian woman's in second place. Now, the white woman makes 75% of that $100. And that kind of makes sense because a lot of white women might be stay-home moms because their husbands is making so much money. They might be stay-home moms. So the Asian woman is coming over here and setting up business. So that kind of makes sense when you see what's happening in America. Now the black woman, she makes 60% of that $100. 60%, okay? Of that $100, she'll make 60% of that. And that number is a little different than that statistic that I told you guys about. But remember, that statistic that I told you was based on a black woman and a white woman having equal foundation of wealth. But we're talking about the totality of black women and the totality of white women. White women make 75% of that dollar, or 75%, yeah, of that dollar, or $100 that white men make, and black women make 60%. Okay? But again, for a white woman and a black woman who have the same background, from the same economic background, income is not that different. Okay, I want you guys to understand that. So, and there's a whole lot of black women that come from $1 million backgrounds. It's just not a whole lot of them. But, black men, let's get to the black man. Now, you know that number is a little bit thrown. 55%, that's what we make. So again, that black woman makes more money than the black man. So this attributes to the dysfunction, I think, in black relationships. It contributes to not just dysfunction, but psychological disease when it comes to black women and black men. It contributes to, I would say, black women not trusting black men to pull their weight. You know, and feeling like they got this superwoman attitude where they got to do everything. They got to be the mama, they got to be the wife, and they got to make the money. That's a lot of pressure. And that could actually help her to not respect you as much either, because she feel like she doing more than you. She doing everything you doing and more. All of this has a factor, the economics, money. has a factor in our relationships. It shouldn't, but we still humans and we still have feelings and emotions, and it does. Okay, so enough of the statistics. I don't like to focus on the problems. I like to see the problems. I like to acknowledge the problem, but I like to focus on the solution. Now, what's the solution? Black people, you have to understand that the economics in this country is systematically against you. Black men, you have to understand that you have to get knowledge. You have to understand economics. You have to understand what makes this dollar tick. Nobody's teaching you that. You need to understand their system. Then you need to get the knowledge, okay, to come into their system and disrupt the system in a sense where it doesn't disrupt the economics of America, but it disrupts the racist system, and it creates for you economics. So what I'm saying to you, you got to reinvent yourself. And you got to stop trusting that if you go get the same degree that they got, that it's going to have the same result for you. This has been the problem. You guys are trusting these degrees, and you're trusting the knowledge that they're giving you, and that you can use the same formula that they're using. You can't. You have to get the knowledge, no question. You have to learn economics. You have to learn even how to be an attorney or whatever degree it is you're getting, but you got to implement that with a different formula. Wow. You have to understand their system and then create your own methodology on how you're going to apply that for you to win. That's what I'm seeing. Because if you go into their system trusting that the system is going to be equal to you and distribute to you the same results as it is for them, that's where we're going wrong. Okay? That's where we're going wrong. If you remember the movie, what was it? The Pursuit of Happiness. The Pursuit of Happiness, this black man had to go against a lot of things. They had him running to get donuts, parking cars. They had him washing their cars and doing all kind of errands. But then they gave him the same amount of time to study for his tests as the white kids had. So he was set up for failure. And that's kind of how the system is. But he had to prevail. He had to still excel. And he actually made a higher score than the other white kids, and that's why they hired him. Said, damn, we put him through all this hell, and he still beat out everybody's scores. But for me, the moral of that story was all a black man needs is a chance. Just a chance to compete, a chance to be in certain positions, to blossom and excel, and they don't want to give you that equal chance because you're dominant. You're dominant. Because again, like I said, he didn't get an equal chance with all the white guys, but he excelled past all of them. He did everything they did and more, and he had to do chores, he had to clean, he had to go get donuts, he had to go park cars. He had to do all that stuff, and he had the same amount of time they had to study, but all those chores cut into his time of studying, and he still, with less time that they had, excelled past everybody. And this is why they can't give you a fair chance, because they feel that you're dominant. They feel that you'll come in and dominate. So what I'm saying to you is don't go to them for a fair chance. What I'm saying is you go get your 7 Series license, you learn that stuff, and then you create your own firms. You create the firm in a manner that benefits you. You have to develop your own technique on how you're going to get your clients. You can't depend on his techniques, or you can't depend on his system of creating your clients, because his system ain't made for you. That's the whole point. Okay? I remember Reginald Lewis, one of the first black billionaires in America. He told everybody in college that he was going to have a first black Wall Street law firm, and everybody laughed at him and said that would never happen. So what Reginald did is he was the type of person where he was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this done. Now, the way he's going to do it, he didn't know. But in his mind, I'm going to do it. So he did it. He set one of his friends who went to school with him, a Jewish guy, to set up the law firm on Wall Street. And he came in as a partner. So I'm not saying that you got to use white people all the time, because there's a movie out now called The Banker, where the banker, he actually had a white guy buy the bank, but it was actually buying it for him. I mean, that was a good strategy. And I'm not saying that that's the strategy every time, but I'm just saying don't ask for permission. Stop asking for permission to be successful. Stop getting their degrees and getting their knowledge and thinking that they're going to give you advantage over them. It's not going to happen. You have to create your own lane. You have to develop your own formula with the knowledge. You get the knowledge and then you develop your own formula and strategy and methodology to be able to disrupt. Okay? Disrupt. That's how we're going to change the game. Now, it's hard to see those statistics today because we have so many millionaires. Black people don't really see the disparity because they're like, oh my God, we got all these millionaires and today and we even got billionaires. That's true. But although we have more black millionaires today than ever in the history of this country, we have less black businesses than we did in Jim Crow and than we did in the days of Rosewood. We have less black businesses than before segregation, okay? Than after integration. We have less black businesses. And 2/3 of American jobs is black businesses, okay? Not black business, but businesses, small businesses, excuse me. 2/3 of the jobs in America is small businesses. So if we're not creating small businesses, then collectively as a people, we're not creating momentum, okay? We have more millionaires, yes we do. But by having more millionaires and less black businesses, you create this individuality, this individual, and this I got mine, you get yours type of attitude, which is not good for the whole of our people. Yes, we got more black millionaires today, but if you do the statistics and you look at the numbers, 5 years after most of these guys finished playing basketball, they broke. Most of them. So although they get to shine for a little bit, without the knowledge of economics, it don't mean nothing. Without the knowledge of how you're going to use that money to disrupt and to create your own lane, it don't mean nothing. With the exception of Magic Johnson and a few others, a lot of people don't look at Akeem Olajuwon. You forgot all about Akeem Olajuwon. Akeem Olajuwon hasn't bounced the basketball in 20 years. I haven't seen him on no commercials. But people don't realize Akeem Olajuwon, some 15 years after he done played, he's worth $200 million right now. Because as he was playing, him and his brother, who I think has a business degree, a master's or something, they were buying Denny's. See? They were buying Denny's. He's got over 85 Denny's or something. So a guy who you haven't even heard of, nothing, done no commentating, he hasn't done anything really that you can see as far as endorsements, none of that. He probably made more money outside of basketball than he made in basketball because he knew and understood economics as a Nigerian. He was getting different information and he took the knowledge that he learned here in other countries and he utilized it to disrupt. What I mean by disrupt is this system is creating the same results. I just gave you statistics. Statistics means patterns. Patterns means repetition, disruption. Okay? And that's what I like about cryptocurrencies. That's what I like about cryptocurrency. That's what I like about blockchain technology. Let me move around a little bit. Is it creates disruptions. It makes you to think disruptive. It makes you to think more decentralized. It makes you to think how you're going to create momentum in a system moving the opposite way. See that? So you guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign out this video. Again, this is the Family Cash Machine. Follow the money. You guys go ahead, grab that link. I got a free ebook for you. There's a lot of free things we have in the Family Cash Machine so we can show you how valuable it is to learn. Most of our people right now don't want to learn nothing. I tell people all the time, hey man, we got economic classes. I don't need that. They just want the money. They don't want to learn nothing. But you have to learn something in order to sustain the money, to create the money, to create that lane, to create momentum, and to create a perpetuation of income. You have to learn something. It's no shortcuts. But because we live in a social media society, everybody wants shortcuts. Everybody wants something for nothing. Everybody wants the money, but they don't want what comes with it. They don't want what it requires of you to get the money. And this is what we're teaching you guys. We're teaching you guys the real breakdown of economics of money, how money really works, how government really distribute money, how those governments create money. Because the whole way they create money is a Ponzi scheme. When you really see how governments create money, you'll say, man, if I did that, I'm going to jail. So it's not created fair in the beginning. You have to understand that. You have to understand the game, then you have to learn the game, then you have to manipulate the circumstances and create your own formula to be successful. That's how it has to be done. So with that, you guys, I'm going to sign out. This is Eric Brent, Family Cash Machine. Follow the money, and you'll find a different truth than what they're telling you. All right, you guys, bye-bye.